Yeah, welcome. In our last session, we looked at our server environment. We downloaded and installed our local servers, our local server and our code editor with a couple of plugins, and also we set up our testing environment, right? Right. In this section 2, we're going to be working on introduction to PHP. We're going to look at the syntax. We're going to look at operators, statements, and arrays, okay? Now let's start with introduction. PHP is an acronym for Hypertext Preprocessor. I know because the name doesn't really match the acronym, but if you really understand and get involved into PHP, then you would probably support this acronym as PHP standing for Hypertext Preprocessor. Yeah, and by the way, we can't say HP because HP is already a brand. It's a big brand, all right? So let's just go with PHP. I support it. And all PHP files have the .php extension, right? So if you see any file with a .php extension, that is a PHP file, all right? Now, I think we created a PHP file in our folder, the working files. So this is a PHP file, right? Now, what I want us to do is let's go ahead and delete these folders that we created. The first folder and the second folder, we just created them for demonstration purposes. We are not using them. So let's go ahead and have them deleted, all right? So we have one working files, which is a folder, and we have just one file, index.php, right? And PHP is an open source scripting language. Which means this is a free language, and it's a script is for coding, all right? And PHP files are executed on the server. This is what it means when they say PHP files are executed on the server. So I have this file here called testing PHP file, all right? Now, when I go to the browser, I see it here, right? Testing PHP file. Now, we have a local server here, right? We have an Apache server, right? What I will do is I will just go ahead and stop the Apache server, right? Then I'll go back to my coder and I will type something like testing server, right? Then I will save this. Then I go back to the browser and this is what I get. I get an error, right? So when you're browsing, normally when you're on the browser browsing, and then you see something like this, it probably means that you can't reach the server, right? So there's the same thing applies to PHP. The files are executed on the server, right? So what I will do, I'll go back and I'll start my Apache, and then I will maybe delete this, right? And then save this. Then when I get back to my browser, I will start my live preview again because I turned it off. All right. Then I see this is a PHP file. So if you don't have a server, you can't run PHP. All right. So it's a server scripting code. Program. All right. Now a PHP file can have a text. I think that's what we just did here, right? We created a test in a PHP file, this one, right? And it can also have HTML in it, right? A PHP file can contain HTML. So let's see how we can do that. Now, to open up an HTML, you need to start with the doc type, right? Now, I have Emmet installed. Remember, I told you to install Emmet. So all I'll do is I'll go exclamation mark and I'll hit on tab, and you can see I already have this skeleton up, right? So I want to put something here. This is HTML, right? HTML inside CSS. Inside a PHP. You'll say this is an HTML file in a PHP file. Oh, this is HTML in a PHP file. All right, let's just say it like this. This is HTML in a PHP file. All right. When we save this and then we go back to our browser, we see this is HTML in a PHP file. So this is what it means by you can have an HTML in a PHP file, okay? And also you can have a CSS style in a PHP file. Wow, that's really cool. So what I would do, I would just copy this, all right, and I will paste this somewhere here, and then I'll try to put some style in this and see if it works. Let's change the color. All right, let's give it a red color, right, and let's increase the font. All right, font size maybe 20 pixels. All right, and then let's see if it works. Right, we're getting it. So we're getting, we're styling, right, we're applying CSS style to a paragraph inside a PHP file. All right, so yeah, it's true that a PHP file can contain CSS. All right, now let's see for JavaScript also. So we are still inside a PHP file, and to create a JavaScript, you need to start with the script, right? Script tag, right? So this is a script tag. I will try and alert something like let me say this is a JavaScript in a PHP file. All right, let's see if that works. All right, so we just put our semicolon, save this, and here we go. So this is a Java effect. All right, so we get this is a JavaScript in a PHP file. All right, so yeah, it's also true for PHP that it's also true that a PHP file can contain a JavaScript, and also PHP codes. A PHP file can contain a PHP codes, of course. All right, so let me say I'll go PHP, then I will just put something here and say echo this is from a PHP tag. All right, and now let's see how this works. So we go back to, all right, we get in the Java. Yeah, we just close the Java and we get in, this is a PHP tag. The reason why we got the Java before the PHP is because the JavaScript, it's coming before the PHP, right? So I think that's one thing that that's one lesson we're learning from here. If you want your PHP codes to execute before your script, then you have to put your PHP code before the script. If not, the script will execute before the codes. All right, that is one lesson that we just learned. All right, so PHP codes are executed on the server and they return the results to the browser. We just checked that. Companies like WordPress and Facebook, they are running on PHP, so you can see how powerful PHP is. All right, because it generates dynamic page content. All right, it can read and write and delete files on the server. It can collect data from forms. All right, and it can send those data that it collects from a form and post it to a database and add to it and delete and modify it. It can be used to control access. It can encrypt data. It runs on, it's a cross-platform. It runs on Windows, Linux, Unix, Mac, and it's compatible with I think these are the two most used servers, all right, that I'm sure of. Apache and IIS. This is from Microsoft, all right, and it supports a wide range of databases, right? So I just hope you fall in love with PHP. I mean, because to me it's the best scripting language in the world. I mean, it's debatable. People are still arguing like which is the best, and I think PHP is the best. That's my take on it. So when we come back in the next lecture, we're going to talk about PHP syntaxes. All right. Thank you very much for watching this lecture.